Hi everyone! Welcome to another episode of Nathan's 3D Factory. In this episode, we're going to continue on that dial sign that we were doing the last couple episodes, okay? So, I did a couple things off camera. So, one of the things I did was that I had separated this display drum. Well, actually, this is the display, this is the drum that's going to display the messages. This is going to have the window. But I separated these two objects, unlike the last episode where I just added it into this, right? So I separated that, and I also creased the edges on this. So if I do this, okay, here we go. So now what I want to do is that I want to start making kind of the keyway for the stalk or stem, the rod that's going to go through this. Okay. So remember we said we were going to do a locking mechanism on this. So I want to show you how to do that. So I'll get out of the local for the moment. Actually, let's see. Okay, I'm going to tab out of edit mode. And so I have a couple of pieces that I'll need to do this to. I'll need to do this to the drum and to the display. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to actually go back into just this, tab into this. I'm going to put into local view. So now you remember we have this spot here where we're going to have like the end of the rod sitting in. So I want to do that, and then what I want to do next is that I want to do a loop cut right here and a loop cut right here. And then I'm going to crease all these right now. There we go. And I can remove the crease afterwards, but this will give me some good reference. Okay, and then I'm going to take a few of these edge loops. Okay, and then what I can also do is I can also hide some of these objects here, okay, so that I'm only doing this stuff right here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get into face selection mode, not edge. And then I'm going to press Shift H, and now I'm just left with this. Okay? So now what I want to do is that I want to have just these guys right here and these guys right here isolated. And so I'm actually going to take the vertex here and here and just delete those vertices. There we go. And then I want to take these guys and then I want to do Shift S, cursor to selected. And then I'm going to press 2 for the edge selection mode for each of these. Then I want to make sure that my pivot point for what I'm doing with scaling and extruding is set to 3D cursor. So when I press E, S, not X, by doing Shift X, I have the snap set up on here so that now we have scale and rotate. Really awesome to have those. Highly recommend it. Now what we need to do is that we need to bridge these edge loops. We're going to do Control E, bridge edge loops. Okay. And then I'll do F on those. There we go. Okay. And each of those edges, I'm going to press Shift E for one. And I'll actually take this, Shift E, one. Okay. And I'll do the same thing down here, where I'll take the edges. Okay. Control E, not Shift E. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Okay, and I'll go into face selection mode, Shift E, one. And now we have a good spot to do our locking mechanism here. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to take a measurement of these spots right here. So I'm going to go from here to here. Okay, so we have 1.5 millimeters on this, is what we're going to say, not meters. Okay. Also, now that we have our setup for the keyway here, what we can do is we can remove any creases that we don't need. So I'll go back to this. 2, there we go. Shift E, -1. Same thing here. Shift E, -1. There. So now we have some places for doing the locking mechanism. So what's going to happen is that we'll be able to turn the sign so that it goes in a 180-degree rotation, okay? So next thing we need to do is Alt-H. That unhides everything. Okay, and now let's get out of local by doing the slash key as well. And we'll tab out of edit mode for a moment. But now what I want to do is that I want to go back into this item right here. And I actually do want to shift select this. And then we're going to tab in again. And we'll just do local view for that. So, and I know there's a lot of back and forth with making sure that I have, okay, let's go back into face select. Okay, so what I'm doing now is that I want to make sure that I have all these items selected. I want to hide these now. Okay. And then I should be able to do, let's see what happens if I just do H on that. Okay, I didn't want to quite do that. Okay, so I want to hide these. Hide these. So you see that I do a lot of back and forth. Believe me, there is a method to the madness. Okay, and I'm going to hide these now. So now what I want to do is that I want to take the size of this inner edge loop right here, and I want to have this guy match up with it, okay? And so I'm going to do a Control R. Now, I will say that's probably not going to get those precise results, but what I can do now is I can do Shift S, cursor to selected, and then I can say S, Shift X, and then have it snap to here. So then, if I go into wireframe mode, then we see that it matches right up with the size of this other edge loop that I just said that I wanted to snap to, okay? And now what I want to do is I want to take an edge loop and put it into here by doing Control R into the inside of this. We'll take it all the way and we'll press G, X, -5, negative again, okay? Since it didn't like that way. Okay, Okay, now I just want to verify that I have the space that I need to get the locking mechanism into here and also into here. I want to have like some depth on this because I don't want this to break off at the first sign of stress, you know? So, and then I'm also adding a little bit of leader space to here so that it'll always be in place. It's not going to fall out or anything, you know? So, so that's the kind of stuff that I look for as I'm doing this stuff, you know? And then I'll do Shift E1. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to focus on the cylinder here. So I'll tab out of edit mode, just do this. I just want to do this one now. So now, I'm going to do the same thing I did the last time. Actually, I'm also going to do Shift E1. Okay. So now, these guys are going to get the vertices deleted here. Okay. Now, another thing I can do as well is I can do EX and do that. So, you thought I was going to do that same scale method, didn't you? Nope. EX. Okay, here we go. Do the same thing here. Let's see, here. EX. There we go. There. And now we just about have this done with this stuff. All right, now actually 3. Okay. Shift E1. So, okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Shift E1. All right. So now that we have that taken care of, oh yes. Let's see. Oh, how about that? I got the wrong one here. Oh, goodness. All right. Okay. EX. So I will be flat out like honest with everyone. I mean, I'm doing stuff real time here. I have done rehearsal stuff, but you know what? It just doesn't seem to make sense all the time, you know? Okay, but this is probably something that should have been rehearsed a little bit more, you know? Shift E1. Okay. I don't want anything to happen to this side. Unfortunately, it did, but we can still correct that now, can't we? Okay. This is the vertex that I wanted to delete. Okay. All right, now I can take these guys. EX. Okay. All right. Bridge edge loops. There we go. Now, I'll go back into edge select mode. There we go. All right. Shift F, 1. Oh gosh. Sorry, it wasn't Shift F, it was Shift E I should have done. Shift E, 1. Okay, that's better. So now I have spots there so that we can do our keyway here. Now I want to do Shift N just to make sure that all of my normals are on the outside. And so it looks like we're good there. All right, I also want to just remove any doubles that could be in. So I'm not seeing any there. But it's always good to check. So anyway, now I can also shade these as flat. So, okay, anyway, this is kind of just like stuff that just kind of bugs me, you know? Shade flat. Okay, and then I also want to take care of these guys. Okay, so now we have the keyway set up for the rod that's going to come in next, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to get out of that. Okay. All right, so for now, we're going to stop right here. Just because that keyway, it took a bit of work there, but we got it now, okay? So we're going to continue in the next episode where we're going to take the rod and we're going to add the handle as well, the dial that we're going to use to control this. And then hopefully we'll be able to get the text on there, and then we'll be able to see how we're going to operate this thing, okay? And then we'll get the final printed product at the end of this. So thank you for bearing with me on this as we're doing this. So let me know what you think of this episode in the comments. Make sure that you like and subscribe and that you follow for all the stuff that's going on with this mechanical device, okay? So this is new territory for me, but you know what? I've done mechanical stuff before where I've done multi-piece prints before. So it's fun stuff, and I hope that you're enjoying this. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you so much for watching Nathan's 3D Factory. Have a great day, guys.